I want to bring in Florida Congressman Greg Steube. He's a U.S. Army veteran and Operation Iraqi Freedom veteran. Congressman, good morning to you. And your reaction to these new moves we're saying in Chicago in particular, because we've had all this verbal pushback from Governor Pritzker and obviously from the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson.
Yeah, it's still fascinating to me how Democrats continue to defend illegal immigrants, criminal illegal immigrants, gangbangers, rapists, murderers over the citizens of our country when Trump was overwhelmingly elected to get illegal criminals out of our country. The American people support that, and you have Democrats. I don't understand their political theory here to try to defend illegal immigrants, but the president's doing exactly what he said to the American people he would do. He's making our streets safe, he's making America safe, and he's removing criminal illegal aliens out of our country. And you have local officials like those in Chicago who are refusing to work with the federal government. It was refreshing actually to see Mayor Bowser in D.C. to say, look, ever since Trump's come into D.C., crime's gone down. The statistics have gone down. We haven't had a murder since Trump's taken over. So at least some Democrats are willing to recognize the changes the president has made for the positive.
Especially because Fox News has interviewed these residents out in Chicago who say that it is not safe. It is not safe to take my child to school. When you've got tens of thousands of people murdered over a 60-year span, that's when you want to get help. I want to ask you, speaking of immigration real quick, though, I want to get your reaction on what's going on with Alligator Alcatraz, because I know that there was a judicial decision to shut it down. It's like, I think, a $400 million price tag. Real quick, what's your reaction to what's happening there, that detention facility?
Well, we need to do, and Floridians are going to support what the president is doing on immigration. And if we can open detention centers in our state to help in the deportation of these illegal criminals, the state of Florida is going to do that. I'm sure that the state is appealing these decisions through the legal process. I'm not read into the details of that, but I'm sure that they're going to do everything they can to ensure that Florida is assisting President Trump in the deportation of illegal aliens. And if that means we move it from Alligator Alcatraz to another facility, we're going to do that. Florida is going to help the president be successful on making our state safe.
Yeah, well, and we had Congressman Diaz-Balart on with us yesterday, and he said that the state of Florida does depend on immigration. He wants to see a legal path to immigration reform. We've got a closed southern border, right? It's pretty much safe now down there. How do you make this a more permanent path forward? What do you make of that?
Well, I don't support any situation where we'd legally be giving amnesty to illegals who came to our country illegally. If you talk to immigrants who came to our country legally, they don't support that as well, because they followed the rules, they did the things they were supposed to do, they became citizens of our country the right way, instead of breaking our laws, coming into our country and violating our federal laws, and then wanting amnesty from that action. I don't think is the right path to take. So I think the president is doing everything right on immigration, and I think Florida is standing by his side to make sure that that gets safe, and not just in Florida, but in our country.
Yeah, well, and again, he was saying legal immigration reform. We'll see where that goes. I know you're all heading back to Washington next week. President Trump announced plans to rename the Department of Defense. Watch this.
We call it the Department of Defense, but between us, I think we're going to change the name. We won the World War I, World War II. It was called the Department of War. And to me, that's really what it is. Its defense is a part of that. But I have a feeling we're going to be changing. I'm talking to the people. Everybody likes that. We had an unbelievable history of victory when it was Department of War. That change is going to be made over the next week or so.
Congressman, you're ready to file legislation confirming the name change. So tell us more about it.
Yeah, the president can do that through executive order, obviously, but when he leaves, if a future president decides to change it back, they can. So Congress needs to come behind him and support him in these decisions. I will be filing a bill next week to rename the Department of Defense the Department of War. We also are going to be considering what we call the National Defense Act, the NDAA. So we will be working through legislation on that, hopefully next week, but in the coming weeks. And I've also filed an amendment that would change the Department of Defense name to Department of War. We in the Congress have to back up everything that the president is doing. I have filed dozens of bills to make permanent all of Trump's executive orders. Congress has to come behind him and get the job done so it can't be changed in future administrations.
All right, we're going to be following your work on that, Congressman. Also, you've got this going. You recently introduced the Secure Trade Act that would protect U.S. workers and industries, as well as crack down on Chinese trade manipulation. So tell us what this is about.
Yeah, the Chinese consistently try to avoid our tariffs. They try to avoid our rules and our laws and our regulations and go through other countries. This would come down very hard on that. China violates our trade barriers all of the time. This puts America workers first. We did it through the tax bill that we just recently passed, the one big beautiful bill that puts America on a tax place where businesses want to come back to America. Now we need to protect those businesses coming back to America. We need to protect the businesses that are here in America, and by protecting them from foreign imports from China does just that. It puts the America worker first, it puts America businesses first, and I'm looking forward to working and trying to get that through the congressional process.
How do you think that that works on one path when you've also got U.S.-China trade relations, which at this point are a little, I guess, stalled is the word. They had those three, big meetings, Treasury Secretary Bessent and Jameson Greer, but at the same time, we seem to be a little bit of a stalemate.
Yeah, it's backing our side of that negotiation up through legislation, which, again, a lot of these things that the president has been doing on tariffs, they can be removed by future administrations. So we need to give him the backup from the congressional side to ensure that this becomes law. Look, the Chinese Communist Party is the #1 national security threat to the United States. We can take advantage economically of the trade between the two countries. We have been at a trade deficit for decades as it relates to China. It's time to level that playing field, put America workers first, put America businesses first, and this bill would do just that.
All right, Congressman Greg Steube. Congressman, thank you so much. Thank you for your service, and enjoy your Labor Day weekend, sir.
Thanks, you too.